How's it going, everybody? Happy Easter, and welcome to a special edition of the Liberty Bowl. So, I spent the last day or so writing out this short little report. It's a short. I did a bunch of research and stuff. Looked into a bunch of different thoughts, philosophies, and ideas when it comes to the idea of cultural tolerance and cultural intolerance, right? And so I went ahead and wrote you guys up this little report on basically how we are to win the war against the woke, right? Basically, how we are to come together in society to basically call a spade, and basically point out when, ideologies and movements are right and when they are wrong, right? So we're going to go ahead and get into that. But as always, it's the Liberty Bowl. So before we get into that, let's get into this. Cheers.
Well, let me run it down to you, communist, homosexual, faggot, dipshit, motherfucker. Fuck you, that's why. 'Cause fuck you, that's why. 'Cause helmets suck, that's why. And commies like you swallow, that's why. Fuck Pete Wilson, that's why. Fuck Dick Floyd, that's why.
All right, here we go. The paradox of tolerance, or the virtue of intolerance. With the culture war raging in full swing here in America, we find ourselves having to reevaluate our core principles and basic American morals. Our way of life is under attack, and it's coming from the inside. With the advent of wokeness as an ideology in America, it is quickly leading to the demoralization of Western culture. And what was once a shining example of individual liberty for all Western civilization is quickly turning into a cautionary tale of the dangers of liberalism and the ways in which it is undermined, subverted, and eventually self-destructed. The spirit of Western culture is built on the basic moral tenets and ideals of Christianity, liberalism, and individualism. That is to say, the ideals of basic human dignity, individual autonomy, diversity, democracy, and tolerance of others' individuality and lifestyle. Most of us would consider these ideals as undeniably good, and for the most part, you'd be right. But as we're quickly discovering, with wokeness and everything, all good and moral things have their limitations and weak points, and can often become quite paradoxical over time. From an early age, we are taught to be kind and tolerant towards others. The Golden Rule states that we should treat others the way we would like to be treated. However, unfortunately, not everybody abides by such rules. This brings us to our first paradox in the morality of tolerance, the self-destruction paradox, which states that if toleration is extended to the enemy of toleration, it leads to its own destruction. By tolerating intolerant ideologies such as wokeness and socialism, we allow for the rise of our own destruction. However, being intolerant of such ideologies would make us technically hypocritical, which brings us to our current dilemma in the state of affairs in the culture war here in America. The solution to such a paradoxical situation, in my opinion, is much like what I'm doing right now, and it's going to require an entire reevaluation of the basic morality of American lifestyle in order to find the balanced and benevolent middle ground between tolerance and intolerance in order to draw limits. This is what's going to bring us to our next paradox when it comes to tolerance, which is the paradox of drawing limits. Liberal idealism would have you believe that cultural limitations of one's individuality or ideology would be considered intolerant and therefore inherently wrong. Putting limitations on what is socially acceptable and what is not, however, should not be looked at as being intolerant, but rather a basic function of society. When it comes to drawing limits on what is and what is not socially acceptable, we find that paradoxically, tolerance must always end up having to flip into its opposite form of intolerance, once it traces the inevitable bounds of what can and cannot be tolerated in society. The next paradox would be the moral paradox of tolerance, which states that tolerance seems to result in the moral rightness of tolerating what is morally wrong. Again, social tolerance should have limitations, especially when it comes to beliefs and ideals that affect society negatively as a whole. The phrase, "that's not the Christian thing to do," in response to being judged or shamed, has been, in my opinion, one of the easiest ways in which the enemy of tolerance has subverted the otherwise good nature of Western morality. Our key tenets of being tolerant of others' individual life choices has been used as a weapon against us, and unless we embrace the virtue of intolerance and rediscover the value of societal shame, our way of life shall be reduced to mere filth before we know it. All liberalism's attempts to tame illiberal forces have failed either by way of underestimating or by trivializing the illiberal impulse, or by simply mirroring and incorporating such destructive values into our own society. The ultimate end to tolerance is not toleration, but rather the realization of specific ideals of humanity, such as human dignity, cooperation, reduced societal pain, compassion, community, and so on. In society, it is considered morally good to tolerate such false beliefs, such as wokeness, such as other different religious beliefs, such as in my opinion, religious beliefs in general. But again, this is cultural diversity, and this is what I guess liberal toleration is all about, right? So, however, it is also morally good to pursue truth overall. And the truth is that there is inherently nothing wrong with cultural intolerance. However, what is inherently wrong is when society fails to call a spade a spade. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's my report on the virtues of societal and cultural intolerance, right? Don't forget to like this video, share this video out if you thought it was pretty good, if you thought you learned something from it, if you took something away from it. If you think, I'm completely wrong, and that's totally fine if you do, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to talk to you. I'll be glad to even have you on the show and have a conversation about, what we have going on here in the culture war in America. And make no mistake about it, this is a full-on culture war. This woke ideology is clearly a destructive ideology, and it's so much to the point that the rest of the world can smell the bullshit that radiates off of this, political and ideological movement. Right? That's essentially what a lot of the world, especially Russia, is trying to fight to keep out right now. They don't want none of that woke shit. Most of the rest of the world doesn't want none of that woke shit. Even places like China, even though they're over here with TikTok pushing this woke shit on America, that's clearly, ideological subversion, as Yuri Bezmenov would say. And it's purely leading to the demoralization of, our values here in America. Essentially, like I said, it's going to result in what it's going to take for us on the right to be able to fight such a culture war without being hypocritical and without going against our moral values. And not saying I'm a Christian or anything like that, but at the same time I do believe in the key tenets and moral virtues of Christianity. I just don't myself agree with organized religion, but I do agree with the like I said, the moral tenets. So the way that we're going to be able to fight against this wokeness is we are going to have to actually fight against this wokeness. We can't be pacifist, socially anymore. We can't be so individual that we can't come together to fight for, what is our way of life, essentially, what is our America. All right. So essentially, it's going to take us doing a complete and total reevaluation of our morals and see how they are using our own our own morality against us. Right. Alrighty, well, that's about it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Like I said, don't forget to like, share this video out. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, appreciate y'all. Fuck off.
You're trespassing on my property. You didn't win in my yard.
Wait.
All of you.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?